Butch and I ready to hop into it, and it's been a weird couple of days. I know you've seen a ton of people, I've seen a ton of people, and everyone's sort of walking around with just this blank look on their face saying, how could they have gotten this far and just gone away empty-handed? It is a strange feeling, isn't it?
It is a strange feeling, especially on the scale of in this town and championships and all this and that. Not many teams get to the altar like they did and just lay an egg. Really lay an egg. I started to turn the page last night a little bit and started to look back and say, you know, it was a pretty good run, but it's a shallow feeling when you do that because, oh, by the way, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play? You know, they lost Game 7 at home.
It's really tough. They gave us some great memories throughout the postseason, but still, I think it's too early to look back at those and celebrate them. What really jumped out at me was this list of injuries that came out on Friday. I mean, obviously, Chara had multiple fractures in his jaw. Kevin Miller broke his knee not once, twice. John Moore, a broken humerus. The humerus is this bone right here. It's crazy. Plus, he had a blown-out shoulder. He said he couldn't hold the stick with two hands. Bergeron with a groin. Marchand had a groin oblique in a hand. Pasternak re-aggravated his thumb. And Achari played with a broken sternum that he suffered in the Columbus series. It just goes to show the physical toll that a run to the Cup takes out of every team. But kudos to the guys for playing with the injuries that they played with.
Yeah, well, hockey players do that, and that's what they do. The one that sticks out to me is Marchand's hand, because he admitted that it happened in the scrimmage that they did for the fans. Now, you can make the argument both ways. Could have happened in practice when he did it. But he's playing in front of the fans in a scrimmage that was a made-up event, and he hurts his hand, which ends up, I mean, does Marchand's performance affect them? Yeah,
big time.
Big time.
Yeah, so what do you think moving forward? Is this something, 85 days is what I read, between when they finish playing and when they take the ice again for workouts to start for the 2019-2020 season. I feel this team, constructed as it is, had the opportunity. They did not capitalize, and it's going to be a heck of a lot tougher next year to even get back to anywhere close to where they were this year.
Well, there's no doubt about that, Tom. I mean, just look at this fact. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in Game 7. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 6 years. 2013 was the last time they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. It is really hard to do this. That's why those players were crying. They understand that better than anybody. I'll use the word transition. This is a team in transition now. It's Charlie McAvoy's team, Brandon Carlo's team, and a lot of the younger guys with, you know, Marchand. They're still around. Bergeron, Marchand, Chara still ticking, and David Krejci. Johansson's a guy that's interesting to me. He's a free agent. He's going to get some money somewhere. I think they might be torn to make a choice between Johansson and Krejci. That's, I mean, it's still too fresh to talk about. I want that guy on my team. I like Marcus Johansson.
Incredible to think we have honors this week. We have the draft coming up, and it's just boom, turn the page and look forward. As we look forward to a whole different season, let's talk some NBA. Because what happened yesterday with the Lakers is unbelievable to me. The fact that they basically trade 6 first-round picks, because Josh Hart was a first-round pick, Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram were both the second overall pick in their drafts, and then 3 future first-round picks. Your reaction when you heard the news that Anthony Davis was going out to L.A. and the return that the Pelicans got?
I'll use a line when the Bruins made a trade years ago. It was 2 raisins for a grape. That was the line that was used. So what that the Lakers gave up 6 raisins? I know it's 6 first-round draft picks when you add up who they were and who they might be with the picks that are coming up, and you say, oh, my goodness, it's Herschel Walker-like you just said
or Ricky
before.
Williams, yeah.
Okay, well, you got Anthony Davis. If you can keep him long-term to put him aside LeBron James, you're probably in the NBA Finals 2 or 3 of the next years. And, oh, by the way, you know who's going to L.A.
Do you think Kyrie's going to go to L.A.? It opens the door to the next question. I don't think Kyrie wants to be here, but what kind of value, if any, does the potential of a sign and trade have in this scenario? If Kyrie knows that he can get 5 for $188 from the Celtics and the Celtics alone, does he work any sort of deal with Danny saying, like, listen, get me that contract and use me as a trade piece?
Maybe. I mean, only Danny and Kyrie know what their relationship really is. But why is he doing the Celtics any favors? What does he owe the Celtics?
I'm not saying he's doing a favor. I'm saying he wants the money. I mean, he's not going to get that money. I mean, he might later in a future contract, but he's not going to get that money now anywhere else.
Yeah, but Tom, he's also doing the Celtics a big favor. The Celtics are going to get something in return.
But I'm not even saying he's doing it to give the Celtics a favor. I'm saying he's just being selfish financially and wants the most money that he could possibly get.
Well, from what we've learned about Kyrie, if he's being selfish, that's why he'll do it. Look, it just fits him going to L.A. now, doesn't it? He wants to play with Anthony Davis. He made amends with Braun. They're happy again now. And now you go out there with 3 of them. I mean, that's a pretty good team.
What about who's left? Because you figure Al Horford's going to opt in. Where else is he going to go? Gordon Hayward has the albatross contract that's associated with him. But beyond that, you got the two young guys in Brown and Tatum. Baines coming back. Smart already signed. Robert Williams still young. Yabusele. Is there any potential for them to make any sort of splash? And if so, do you got a name you want to throw my way?
Well, Kawhi Leonard is the name I would love to see here, but I don't see how that's going to happen because, as we've seen with the cap and everything else, Horford's got to come off the books. Probably Hayward's got to come off the books. Those things aren't happening. Horford maybe, but you're not going to get a max guy. So the real question to me becomes with the Celtics, whose team is this? It's Gordon Hayward's team because he's the big money guy for the longest period of time. He's Brad Stevens' guy. It is his team right now. But we sort of reset and go back to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago now. Kyrie's gone. Hayward's now added to the mix, but now Brown, Tatum, Smart.
Rozier. Is Rozier back in the mix despite
Probably.
what he said? I think Kyrie out the door reopens the door for Rozier to come back and sign with this team. They'll let bygones be bygones, and it's a different scenario now. It's not what it was last year because Irving will be out.
Well, like Marcus Smart, meaning that Smart wanted 15, 16 million a year and ended up getting 12, 13 from the Celtics. Rozier didn't do himself any favors. He's not going to get 16, 17 from somebody. So if it's 12, 13 a year on a Marcus Smart deal for 4 years with Kyrie gone, as much as people want to say, oh, why do you want Terry Rozier? Because if you give Terry Rozier the job and you give him the commitment, you probably got a different player than you saw in this postseason.
I want to bring up a hypothetical because we were throwing this around upstairs in the sports office. I don't think that it would happen with Durant, nor do I think that it would happen with Klay Thompson, but have we seen a hypothetical situation play out where a big-name player gets injured late in the season in the playoffs, whether it be semifinals, NBA finals, and you know that that person will not play the next year and that person is a free agent? Is there any possibility that that type of player has now put himself in a situation where he's not going to get paid for a full season?
Well,
no one will sign him.
absolutely there is, especially Kevin Durant. I mean, producer Chad Amaril's disagreeing with us here. He's 30 years old. He's got an Achilles injury now. What are you going to give him, a 5-year deal, and just think he's going to flip the switch and 2 years from now be the same player he's always been?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm asking. I mean, I wouldn't pay. I'm on your page, but I'm going to play devil's advocate just for the sake of this conversation.
Oh, somebody will.
Yes, I think somebody will.
Somebody will.
You know, you could argue Danny Ainge might. If you say, hey, you got a healthy Kevin Durant, or as healthy as he's going to be Kevin Durant for 3 years, but he can't play for that first year, and oh, by the way, you got to pay him $30 million.
Yeah.
Would somebody pull that trigger?
Somebody will. It's two different arguments. Would you do it, or will somebody? I'll go back to Jacoby Ellsbury. When he was going into his free agent year, I was on the radio every weekend, and I brought him up, and I said, he's getting $100 million. Somebody called up and argued with me to death, said, he's not a $100 million player. I said, I didn't say that. He's not a $100 million player, but somebody's giving it to him, 155. From the Yankees, and they weren't the only suitors. So you're right. The NBA owners are like the Major League Baseball owners. They can't help themselves, Tom.
It'll be interesting to watch Thompson because Durant's got the protection. He can opt in. But Thompson, as a potential free agent, do the Warriors take care of their boy?
I don't know. Do you sign him if you're the Celts? And could you?
Questions for another day. Thanks.